Hello YouTube, my name is Max. This is the fourth episode to my testimony series. I'm sure there's not that many people that are watching this, but I'm going to include it all the same. If it ever takes off, then the hope is that it would reach out to those who are in a similar boat, and if I can help anyone, that would be amazing. So for this episode, I'm going to discuss what occurred to me immediately after I left the place of work that I used to work at, the hospital for special surgery. Before I begin there, I feel the need to mention something that I failed to include in the previous videos, and that is at that hospital, the hospital for special surgery, towards the end, I was working as a patient access specialist. I know that the targeted harassments were coming in from various sources, from patients, doctors, and various departments, but I always knew that the one orchestrating everything was the head of this department that I previously worked for. They're known as the Service Excellence. There's so many reasons as to why I think that. I'm not going to get to every one of them, of course, but let's just say that the person that I reported, this bad manager at Brooklyn, is someone that the head of Service Excellence has appointed. And ever since I reported her, all the harassment started pouring in one after the other until it got out of hand. So that's one of the major giveaways as to them being the orchestrators. Besides the fact that all these people from that department coming in, they were fine with me before, and now all of a sudden they're acting with complete animosity, hatred, and just it was just a giveaway, and something that I discerned within me, I guess. Call it a message from God, even although I wasn't even a Christian back then. But about that head, the Service Excellence, she was someone who struck me from the beginning, from the very beginning, well before any of this has occurred. She struck me as someone who's fake. Looking at her career history, you would see how she just progresses from one job to another like it's nothing. Like starting off from something like an office assistant, going all the way up to vice president within a span of like 10 years, 12 years at most. She's like jumping positions like it's nothing. Like she would go from manager to senior in like a year, and then from senior to another in a year. Now, all this is not possible for people that actually have all the credentials and experiences, but for someone like her, it's even worse, because honestly, if you interact with her, you would know that she lacks a lot of skills, like practical skills, slow typist. She does not know how to use most softwares. Communication skills are lacking, are very loose. Managerial skills are bare minimum. She was just not what she gave out to be, to put it simply. Yet the only thing that seemed like a stereotypical manager in her to me was how arrogant she was. Like she would give all the time in the world to those who are up there, but then to anyone else, she would just show her fake side. Her, how would I put it? Fake side. That's the best way I can put it. So why am I mentioning this? Because she hardly talked to me. Aside from the 2 minute, like, oh, did you do this? Did you do that? She would barely talk to me. Yet, towards the end of all this, I run into her in the hospital lobby, and she starts starting this conversation with me, and back then my hair was dyed blue, and she just went non-stop for 10 minutes. Why did you dye your hair blue? Why did you pick this color? Did you see anyone in TV do it? Did your friends do it? Were your parents okay with it? Blah 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 blah. She went non-stop, and it struck me as odd because, as I mentioned, she barely talked to me, and now all of a sudden, in the midst of all this I'm not sure if she knew that I associated her with all of what's going on, but I'm sure she does. She felt it. If not, then it's even worse. Like in the midst of all this, you're talking to me about her, and you never talked to me before. You don't think that's odd? Uh, that's just something that I felt like throwing out there. Anyways, let me get to the main bit of this video, or the main purpose of this video. So it was August 12th. I wake up in the morning with a panic attack. I was stressed out. I felt terrible. I knew I wasn't welcome at the hospital. The weight of everything just all started piling up at once. I felt that I wasn't welcome, I wasn't liked, and I decided to quit. But before I did that, I just wanted to call my mom. Now I know that she wasn't the type to support me financially or even emotionally, but I just thought out of respect to tell her, and hopefully, at least knowing that other people know about my decision would make me kind of feel a little better. She didn't pick up the phone. I called her twice or three times. She didn't pick up at all. So I went to my roommate slash ex. He tried to convince me to stay at the job, but I just told him that I wasn't gonna stay. That's not the purpose. I wasn't talking to him for him to convince me to stay. I was hoping for someone to kind of ease me into my decision, but he just said, "Do whatever you have to," in a kind of an aggressive tone. So I just went ahead, and I wrote a text message to my manager, and mentioned to her that I wasn't gonna show up, resign. Now, at first, it felt great. I'm not gonna lie. Felt like I was free. A lot of weight was lifted from me. But then, as all the initial excitement started loosening up, I started feeling really depressed. Started self-blaming a lot. Like I was like, oh, I could have stayed longer. Maybe I should have. But then I would convince myself that no, I did the right thing. You know, a lot of people go through that. My mom called me, and she started attacking me aggressively. She was like, "You know, you couldn't find another job that pays that high. Why would you do that? You don't care about money. You don't know how important money is." And she started giving me lessons on how she should live life, not me. And it was just depressing, like the way she was destroying me and basically slapping me. Um, we just ended the conversation. I was like, fine, whatever you want to think. You want to think. She didn't help at all. um, just hung off the phone. That was the end of that. My dog Finn, I've had him for 2 months at that point. My roommate decided to take my dog into his room. Even I don't know if that was on purpose, but even my dog couldn't stay by my side. I knew that would have helped me a little bit to cope with all the stress and everything, but he took the dog. I locked myself in my room for about 5, 6 days. All what I did, I ate minimally, drank minimally, just watched YouTube videos. And one thing that was interesting was that a lot of the stuff on my recommended side were videos about narcissism, which is really odd. I felt that that was definitely a sign from God, or I feel that that's a sign from God. The fact that most of the videos that I watched were, or if not all of the videos that I watched, were cartoons, video games, roller coasters, FPV drones. None of them were about mental illnesses or narcissism or demons or any of that stuff. So for all the videos that pop up in my channel to be narcissism related, now that I think about it, I know that it's a sign from God and it couldn't be anything else. Not sure if that's what I thought back then, but I immediately started connecting the dots because that's all video, pretty much all what I've been watching for 5 days straight. And I was like, okay, my roommate's definitely a narcissist. My mom, 1,000,000%, and such, that person. It turns out that I was essentially surrounded by narcissists all my life. I just didn't know what they were. And I think that was a sign from God, and He was telling me to stay. He was warning me about people and who to stay around and who to let go. But I just didn't receive it well back then. All what I thought about was, oh, they might be narcissists, but maybe if I treat them better, they'll become better, which is not the case, obviously. And I knew my mom all my life, and she's been just the way she is, and getting worse and worse. I didn't think like that back then. Um, Narcissist videos. Uh, right after that, I started applying for a job. After the first week, I felt that needed to get a job for sure. Um, Applied left and right, I get no responses at all. Now that I know, everything was basically planned out. I don't want to mention too much about this until the end of the video because I don't want to kind of stray off the main topic. I'm just going to describe the events as they come along instead of giving my 2 cents on each bit. So I was applying for jobs left and right, hundreds of jobs, all of which are matching to my skills or my experiences, but none of them would respond. I had only one opportunity, a work from home job that was fake, and I had to find. I discovered it late on, unfortunately. Like the company was real, everything seemed real. They sent me a contract, they sent me job offer, insurance, and everything, and I signed it and I sent it back. Stupid me. And they sent me a fake check. And how did I find out that they're fake? Their email address. The domain had this one extra letter. And I emailed the original company and they said that they knew nothing about it. So that was that. Other than that job, I really didn't have anyone else respond to me at all. And again, I have my opinion on that position, that fake company, but again, I'm not going to mention anything, just not to get away from the main topic. So with all this free time, I decided to upload an article about my experience at the hospital for special surgery, and I decided to report them to various. I don't know what to call them. I forgot the name of the organizations because I applied to so many. They're kind of like human rights things, where you would report bad behavior or discrimination and stuff like that. I reported it to a whole bunch of them, and I uploaded the article on LinkedIn. Prior to uploading the article, not only my roommate but my mom also, they both tried to convince me not to. They were like, they had different excuses. Like my roommate was like, "Oh, it's over. Why would you trouble yourself with them and stuff?" And my mom was like, "Oh, if you do this, then you won't be able to get a job. They'll see it. Your potential employers are going to see it, and they're not going to give you a chance." I had my own reasoning for both of them. I told them that I wasn't saying anything wrong. I wasn't cursing. I wasn't exposing names. I wasn't exposing positions. I was just exposing their bad behavior and the terrible things that they did to me. So that was that. I uploaded the article and I reported it, as I said, to these organizations. Now, most of these organizations, they send me a letter in the mail and they say, "Oh, we acknowledge this. Thank you for reporting," stuff like that, and we'll look into it, and that's it. That's the end of that. Never hear back from them ever again. One of them, I had a hard time getting an appointment for an interview, and I eventually did. And it was the dumbest waste of time ever. But again, I have my reasons. I know what they're up to. But again, I don't want to mention too much about it until the end of the video because I don't want to detract from the series of events. So, the lady on the phone talked to me for at most 10 minutes, and she would cut me off, and I knew she wasn't serious. she kept saying proof discrimination. I was like, I told them everything, how they didn't pay me for the position, how they trained me on a position that they trained me on a position that I didn't even apply for, and they judged me prematurely, and all the harassments that was happening at the hospital and the targeted patients that were coming in all together and all everything. And she just said, "This is not discrimination. You can't prove discrimination." I was like, "How do you prove this? What do you mean?" She's like, "They must come and tell you that you're Asian. We don't like you." I was like, "That's not how discrimination works." And anyways, she told me that I don't have a case. End of that. Hung up. And that's all my attempts at trying to report them to human rights organizations in New York City. I tried to schedule appointments with lawyers. They wouldn't get back to me. Um, that's the end of that. I uploaded the article. The article took off. Like, a lot of people would look at it. A lot of people would comment. I got likes. Within a week at most from uploading the article, things started shifting really, really, really obviously and quickly. For one, the neighborhood that I lived in, Bay Ridge, they're predominantly Middle Eastern. I'm not saying that it's impossible to see Caucasian people, but it's extremely rare. And even if you did see, it would be like a couple here, a couple there at most, not more. Um, so right after a week after the article, at most a week, I would say even less than a week after the article was uploaded, I decided to go out, and easily 80%, if not more, of the people on the streets are white people. Um, they're all old senior citizens. They look strange, and I'm not saying that they look ugly, but they look strange. Like, they look dead. Like, their expression is just off. A lot of them look at me funny. A lot of them follow me around. Um, Whenever I go into a restaurant, if there aren't two already in there, two of them would follow me in. Everywhere I go, they're behind me, dude. I remember going to a supermarket. People would stare me down throughout the different aisles, and at the end, as I'm checking out, people would just stare at the stuff I'm buying. Like, it was just odd, and it was a giveaway. Like, it was clearly, it was odd, and it didn't happen just for like a couple of days. It was like from then on, like every day until I left the country, getting even worse and worse as time progressed. Uh, I remember going to a doctor's appointment, a follow up. Um, it was an the Asian doctor's office, so an Asian clinic. So most of the patients there are usually Asian, East Asian. Rarely would you see foreigners or non-Asians. During the follow-up, there were like 50% white people, and they're of the same demographic as the one I mentioned. Old people looking completely out of place. They were sitting, giving me the stare, giving me the looks, and I remember as I was being called, before I got called, he called me, but then this lady appeared out of the elevator, and she decides to go with him, and he was like, "Just wait for a second." And she goes in with him for 5 minutes. As she was going in, she stared at me like with this malicious and worried look at the same time. It reminded me of those people at the hospital. That's the best way I can put it. Uh, she goes in with him for 5 minutes, and he comes out looking completely different. He treated me like I was a monster. Like, you could tell that he was kind of nervous about me, and she said something to him that made him that way. Like 2 minutes ago, he wasn't like this. Anyways, that's one of the events that happened. Um, my dog, he would freak out when he sees these people. My dog hates walking on the streets, so the only way I could get him to go out is carrying him in this sling that I bought him. And as these people started appearing, he wasn't scared like this previously. He would not react or anything. I could just pass by anyone in the sling and he wouldn't flinch. But as these people started appearing, the minute I'm not even close necessarily, like even if I'm like 20, 30 feet away from a person, he would start staring at them and start like shaking. And sometimes he would start whimpering. And other times, like when I get closer, like let's say 15 feet or even 5 feet, he would start shoving his head in my chest, sometimes attempting to jump out of the sling. Like as if there's this energy force field or something that he sees or senses that I can't. Uh, he would start like freaking out. Legit, a couple of times he jumped out of the sling, and I thought I'd lose him because he would start attempting to run. Um, I also discovered something with these people, like completely by accident. I have these Bluetooth earbuds. Um so as I pass by them, not all of them, but quite a few of them, right as I pass by them, my earbuds wouldn't disconnect, but the music would cut off for like a split second and come back, and or sometimes a half a second and come back. And one time, also by complete accident, as that was happening, I was looking at the phone, and every time I discovered that every time I look at the phone at that time, this would happen. The screen would start flickering, and an AI overlay would start popping up left and right, and it would start flickering, and the phone would start reacting as if someone was touching the phone and doing stuff on it. Um, Again, I could give you my 2 cents on this, but um, I don't want to stay on one event too long. I'll describe everything at the end and what I think of everything altogether. I'm just going to describe the events as they occur right now. So this thing starts happening. The phone starts flickering and the AI and all that. Um, Mind you, all this was happening, I wasn't really scared or terrified. I don't know why. This is something I could never describe to you. I knew what was happening. I knew that it wasn't normal. I knew that I was being targeted and being followed, and something was up. I wasn't blind to it, and I wasn't like gullible or innocent about it, but I just didn't feel scared. And I think it's all thanks to God. Glory to God. Um, about my dog. The first time I got him, when my mom came to my house, he, for some reason, he is terrified of my mother. Now, I could give you my 2 cents, but it's up to you to believe me or not. I think she might be demon possessed, if not a demon herself. I couldn't really tell you otherwise. He's so terrified of her. She walked in, and I tried to put my dog on her lap so she could pet him. And the minute I put it on her lap, he pooped and peed on her. He's never done that to anyone. Every time she comes into my house, he would hide underneath the couch and growl and bark nonstop. And he never did that to anyone else that I know of. Even those people in the streets, he would be so terrified that he would attempt to jump out, but he would never growl or bark at them. But he would definitely attempt to jump out and freak out. Uh, that's that. See, everything that I'm saying might seem like random, but I'm saying it as I remember it, and that's the best placement I could use to tell the story, because there's no other way I can tell it without making it sound random. Um, so there's that. All this stuff is happening, and I'm trying to explain it to my mother, and telling her about all these strange people, and she wouldn't help me one bit. She would just start blaming me. She was like, "I told you not to upload the article. Remove it. Take it down. Blah 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 blah." She would kind of give me hints that she might be onto something. She might know who these people are, but then she would not support me. She would just like remove the article, just take it down, and starts blaming at me and stuff like that. And my roommate, he would just say, "Oh, it's just your imagination. You're not. You might be just upset and blah blah blah." And he makes me seem like I'm crazy. He's like, "No, there's white people. There's always been white people." I'm like, "You're not gonna lie to my face. I know what this neighborhood's like. I've been here with you for the past 4 years or 3 years or something. You can't convince me that I'm seeing things. My friend who's a police officer, he also did the same pretty much as what my roommate did. Towards the end, he did something kind of like trying to hint me towards something, but I'll tell you that in a bit. Mm. So I know this is really difficult and whatnot, but I was just dealing with it and looking for a job at the same time. It was much easier when I had people that I knew. But later, as I lost everyone, and I'll describe how, things became a little more challenging, but thanks to God again, I managed to deal with it. I had no issues. So, at a point, my roommate starts losing it. He's starting to cry, wail, and everything. And I'm like, "What's going on?" He says that his sister is sick in the hospital and she's asleep in bed or something. She's like in a coma, which is I felt sad for him because within the past like 3 months he lost like a couple if not three friends, some to drugs, some to car accidents, some to whatever. So I felt bad for him, and I mentioned I mentioned to him that we should go to Pennsylvania, where his sister lives, and visit them. See if we could see what's up with her at the hospital. Um, he agrees, and we go there by bus. This is my second time going to that location in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. I've been there once previously. I told him that we should rent. See my dog's growling. I'm experiencing all sorts of supernatural stuff. As much as I'm talking about things like this normally and making videos, trust me, my life is anything but normal. And anyways, um, I remember going to Pennsylvania with my roommate. I remember telling him that as soon as we arrive, we should check into a hotel and then go to his family's house because I don't want to stay at their family's house. He agrees, but the minute we go there, he decides to go to his family's house first. Um, we go in, and the vibes were off completely. For once, they had a dog. I forgot what her name was, but they had this dog, a female dog, that had her ear cut off, like one of the ears cut off. They told me that they were shaving her fur and then cut off her ear by accident and tried to glue it back on or something. Anyways, they had that dog. This was well before I got mine. The second time I went there, that dog looked dead. Like she was a husk. She was skin and bones. Her eyes were both blind. She could barely hear. She's alive, but she's like you lift her up. She's like a little pillow. There's no weight to her, and she smells too. She smells like some part of her is rotten. I felt terrible. I didn't mention that we brought our dogs with us because we couldn't leave them. We couldn't afford leaving it having a dog sitter, so we had to take the dogs with us. So seeing that dog, I felt terrible. I didn't even want my dog to go near her because I didn't want him to see her. I felt terrible. Um, Not only that, they had this bigger dog that they got, like a pit bull, who was being abused by the house owner. She would slap him and yell at him and shove a stick in his cage. I felt terrible. The vibes were completely off, as I said. Um, they had this family friend that came to visit, this lady that was like in her 40s, if not 50s. Meeting for the first time. She seemed neutral, like I didn't care much about her, but she was worse than that, and I'll describe what happened. So all this was happening. I decided to go down with the kids to the basement to smoke a joint. I used to smoke back then. Thankfully, no more. So the minute I walked down to the basement, this is the first time I'm going down to the basement, and it scared the heck out of me. it looked like a criminal's den. It looked like, the best I can describe it is, if you've seen the movie Blair Witch Project, if you've seen that house towards the end, with all the abandoned house look and everything, it looked like, it even looked more sinister than that. It looked like some place where witchcraft would take place. There's like burnt markings all over. The wall didn't have any wallpapers or anything. Everything was out of place. It looked destructed. It looked just completely scary. I took a couple of pulls and I left the basement immediately. Went upstairs. Um, not much longer. The kids came upstairs and then they were asking. My roommate was telling me that they were going out to get some food, and he was asking me to join them. And I was like, "Well, can we take the dogs? Will they fit in the car?" And he was like, "No, we're not going to take the dogs. Just leave them." I was like, "No, I'm not going to go then, because there's no way in heck am I going to leave my dogs in that house by themselves, especially around that pit bull and around God knows what else did they do to that little poor dog. Oh, her name was Dora, by the way. That poor Dora. Um, so I decided to stay. He went, and right after he left, that family friend decides to rip on me. I don't know what's going through her head at the time. Now I know. But again, I can explain everything in another video or maybe towards the end of this one. I don't know yet. But she went completely berserk on me. She was like, "Oh, you think you're better than us?" I don't know where she got that from. I never even talked to her aside from hi. It's like, "You think you're better? Oh, you think you have a dog? You whatever." And she started ripping on me. And like, she was like, "Take your dog out. You don't want them to pee on the carpet. This rug is new. We just bought it and you can't afford to pay for it. And the rug is like old as heck. There's cigarette markings all over. There's pee all over." She was just ripping on me. She was targeting me. And I felt terrible because it reminded me of all the stuff that was happening at the hospital. I was like, I don't need this again. So I was building up rage within me because of her. And when my roommate came, I wasn't having any of it. I just picked up my dog and I left. And I was like, I'm leaving for New York City. You can stay here. And he decides to follow me and he's like, "What's going on? Why are you so upset?" And I'm like, "Did you see what that lady did to me? She was trying to rip on me. She was trying to insult me for no reason, and I'm not having any of this, and blah 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 blah." And then that lady's trying to like play it cool. She's like, "Oh no, it's okay." She's acting all nice now. She switched her face. She's trying to drag me, and I'm dragging back, and I'm like, "I'm not staying." And my roommate started pulling me. I was raging, and he starts telling me, "What about my sister?" I was like, "I don't care about your sister. You deal with her. It's not none of my business." He starts punching the heck out of me. Like, he punched me in my face. Yeah, as he was punching me in my face, he knocked me to the ground. And one thing he said that I'll never ever forget, and that's why I never forgave him really. Not in the sense, not really forgive him. I forgave him, but what I mean is I never talked to him again, or I never trusted him again. Because Brett, as he was hitting me, he was saying, "I always wanted to do this. You know how long I've been wanting to do this?" And that really was the major red flag. It broke my heart, and at the same time, it woke me up a little bit. Um, as to what kind of people I'm surrounding myself with and how I should be more careful. But anyways, he knocks me down. I pick up my dog and I start walking away. Um, I wasn't gonna confront him because there were more than me, and he was bigger than me. And I was in the middle of a foreign place, so I just start walking off in the dark. I call 911 frantically. My phone was dying. I had like about 6%, 7%. Was calling the cops, asking. I was calling 911, asking them to send over police officers so that they could take me somewhere safe where I could take an Uber back. And they weren't helpful. They kept asking me to tell them what corner I was on, what intersection, which street. I told them it was pitch black and my phone's dying. I really need your help. Is there any way you could locate me by GPS or something like that, and she would just cut me off, and she would just tell me, "No, you need to give me a sign," and she was almost like confrontative, like she was pissed at me. It was like, "I need a landmark, I need a landmark," and she was so pushy. So at one point, I got so desperate because I was like, might as well hang up on her and just get another agent to help me. And I told her, "You're incompetent," so she hung up on me before I could do anything. I called back and it's the same 9/11 agents. It's the same exact one. And she was like, "Are you gonna?" She knew who I was. She was like, "Are you gonna be nice this time?" I was desperate, so I was like, "Yeah, sure." Um, I managed to get to a place with a little more light. I described the location, and a police officer comes up in like 10 minutes or so. Um, he takes me to this gas station. I get a charger for my phone. I charge my phone, and I head back to New York City alone. Um, as soon as I head back, I decide to call my mom, and stupid me, I was expecting her to have some sort of sympathy or empathy. She immediately starts cursing me out. She was like, why did everything's money about to her. She immediately starts talking to me about how wasteful I am, how I should have never went because of money. Like she's like, why would you buy a ticket all the way to Pennsylvania knowing that you don't have a job? And she just went. She said a lot of things that were just discouraging and hurtful. Um, yeah. We argued a little bit, hung up the phone, um, decided to contact my dad. Um, I chatted with him on WhatsApp. Uh, it was from that time that I connected with my dad a little bit more because I knew my mom was really, really destroying me. So I thought maybe I could get closer to my dad, and I decided to text him. He was in Saudi Arabia. I just texted him via WhatsApp, and for a month at least, we would talk almost every day. And he would tell me about, he would talk to me about the stuff that was happening over there and what's happening. He kind of took off some of the pressure from all the things that was happening around me. And I was even telling him about all these people that were following me. He would just be like, "Oh, read the Quran, do this, do that." Like he would kind of sort of acknowledge that something was up, but at the same time, he would blame me for other things. It was really odd, but at least he kept me kind of busy for that month. Um, my mom, a week after that, she prescribed me this medicine that almost killed me. She's a nurse practitioner, so she she prescribed me medications more than a couple of times. But that last medicine that she prescribed me because she wanted me to stop smoking to save money almost killed me. I don't know if she did it on purpose. I honestly think that she did. Now, back then I don't know what I was thinking, but now I know that she did it on purpose. I have no doubt that she is a Mason or some other witch, whatever covenant, whatever you want to call it, that she's in. She's definitely not something in the light. That's the best way I can put it. She, I have an image of the medicine. I ate it. I had this extremely bad nightmare, and I had this bad headache from it. Felt like I was gonna die. I later found out after reading about the medicine that it says that it's extremely dangerous for people who've had seizures or are having seizures. And she knew that I had a history with seizures, yet she prescribed me that medication. I called her about it. I was telling her about how irresponsible and she kept giving me excuses, and she was like, I wasn't appreciative, I wasn't whatever. Something she said that triggered me so much that I was like, I don't think I can trust you anymore. And ever since then, she just literally disowned me. Like, she hasn't talked to me once from that time on, up until now. She completely went blank on me, which is good because I feel that I really, I really feel liberated after she disconnected herself from me. Um, my father, who I was talking to on WhatsApp, also decides to cut me off out of the blue for no apparent reason. Like one day he just stops messaging me. I tried calling him. I tried texting him. He wouldn't respond. He wouldn't. He just zoned me out completely. So now I lost both of my parents and or parents, and this roommate that punched me. He came a week after that day, and he took all his stuff and left. For the first time, I felt like I was alone, really lonely. I felt horrible. I felt extremely, extremely lonely. Um, Aside from the police officer that I knew and this other friend that I knew from college, I really had no one else in my life. Period. I didn't have a job. I didn't know what I was doing. Um, my dog was the only one that kept me busy, basically. Um, so back to the whole incident with the roommate. When he left, I went into his room because he left most of his stuff in the room. Like he didn't even have to. He, I don't know what's the word. Like he didn't even care to clean up after himself. He left all his used clothes, all of his junk, all of his stuff. Some of them are new toys and stuff. He just left them there and dumped them and left. But that's not what I'm going to talk about. What really terrified me was some of the stuff that he had in his room. He had this book with names of people and strange markings, and he had like candles in the room, like witchcraft stuff. He had this jar with pennies and four blue crosses, little blue crosses at the bottom. He had a whole bunch of stuff that I couldn't explain. Like this notebook where he writes about some weird people and strange abilities and stuff like warping, shape shifting, whatever. I talked to my friend about it, and he was like, "Oh, he's probably just writing a comic or something, or it might be just some made up stuff." Now that I think about it, they're all in on it. He probably was just trying to kind of prevent me from looking deeper into that, and I didn't. Well, then things started occurring at my house that's really hard to explain. Like, things in the kitchen would fall on themselves, like by themselves. Glasses or things, magnets off the fridge, would fall off. Um, I'll start hearing bumps on the walls, scratches on the walls. My dog, he would start barking at things that weren't there. This never happened when my roommate was still in the house. He would start barking nonstop at walls, at random hallways. It never scared me. It startled me at first, but I kind of associated it with demons because there's nothing else that I could think about back then. I was like, this has to be something demonic, and I was so upset at that point. I don't know what was going on through my head, but I was really upset because of everything that was happening. I lost everyone that I knew. Um, I couldn't find a job, and all of this harassment that's going on outside, and everything. It's I just connected the dots. I was like, there has to be something big that's going on. Um, I don't know. At that point, I was on my LinkedIn looking at my article, and someone just texted me, and he was like, uh, someone random. He wasn't on my friend list or anything. He was just like, "You are definitely targeted. Watch out for yourself." And I remember this other kid who starts talking to me on LinkedIn. He starts talking to me about spirituality and stuff randomly, just out of the blue. He's like, "Do you think you're ancient or something? You might be a part of another life, and people are trying to hurt you because you're this and that." He was talking some spiritual gibberish that I didn't understand. and I was talking to it about this to my one and only friend that I had left, and he starts freaking out. I don't know how to describe it. It's just so odd, like all these occurrences. And then this is when all of a sudden my YouTube channel starts recommending me videos about chosen ones, about God, about Christianity, uh, all sorts of things. I know this might sound completely random and it might sound like I'm talking nonsense, but I could honestly care less. This is the truth, and I just have to put it out there, no matter how rugged, how disjointed it sounds. Um, I started seeing videos on chosen ones, on Christianity, on all this, and some people on LinkedIn started sending me messages. They're like, "Hey, you want to join this political party or whatever?" And I thought it was like some hoax or something. And then they exposed themselves as Masons. They're like, "Oh, you should join this Freemasons. It's really awesome. Whatever, whatever." I started looking up Freemasons, and now everything starts making sense to me. And like, my mom could be a part of it. Um, my roommate, everything started making sense. All this hospital stuff that was happening, and all started hitting me at once. And I start getting pissed. I remember cursing out that guy. I was like, "I'll never join your scummy org or whatever it is. Could care less about trash like that." I start getting pissed at Masons the most. I remember, yeah, my mom actually, when when I used to talk to her, she once came to my house and brought this box uh, to move stuff out. Uh, and on that box, it had WB Mason. I don't know if that's related or not, but that's a thing. Um, so now I start blaming everything on the Masons and stuff. So I started doing some research on them, looking them up, looking what they're about, and I find out that they worship Baphomet or whatever garbage that is. Um, so out of rage, like out of spite, and out of disgust with them, I start ordering this statue of Baphomet on Amazon. And every time I order it, it would get removed from the cart, or my account would get like signed out, and I couldn't. So eventually, I ordered a plush of Baphomet, and the minute it arrived, I started ripping that thing apart. I was like, I'll just to show how much spite I have for Satan and all his garbage. I wasn't even a Christian at that point. I just started destroying it and ripping it and just getting upset. I felt so much relief afterwards, but that same day I took a nap on my couch, and as soon as I closed my eyes, I remember looking at the ceiling, and I was like lying down in the same place, but something was different. Like I felt that the whole wall was warping, and I felt Satan himself was choking me, and I heard his voice. Like it was deep, like really deep, and kind of like how monsters sound in cartoons and stuff. And he was like, "How dare you," or something like that. And I remember yelling the name of the Lord, and I instantly snapped out. And I knew back then that that wasn't a coincidence, that there was definitely something spiritual going on. And that's when I started believing in the spiritual more and more. I mean, honestly, it's hard to say from that moment, but since all of the whole supernatural stuff that started occurring, with the things falling off, the dog barking at stuff that's unseen, all that, I started knowing that we live in a that there's so much stuff that's mysterious to us, that we are being basically manipulated into believing that the world is the way that we're used to, but it's not. So from that moment, I don't know. My story is not that glorious or anything, but I just felt the need to research Christianity and get into Christianity. And I got my cross and got my Bible, decided reading the Bible, and it was difficult. Like throughout the whole time, Satan was trying to force me to doubt it. And I was like, oh, should I go back to Islam or should I embrace Christianity? Should I maybe do both? Or it was like my mind was like fighting itself. Like I was like, should I do this? Should I do that? But something in me was telling me that Islam was not for me. It wasn't the right path for me. And I just recalled why I rejected Islam to begin with. And slowly, I just completely gotten into Christianity. And I wouldn't say that things gotten better, but I just know that I'm protected and defended. And I know that the Lord's with me always and forever. I know the story is not as glorious as people who have seen Lord Jesus or talked to him or something like that. It's more of a feeling. And I know that the Lord's with me always. It's really hard to explain. Sometimes I would read the scriptures in my mind, and immediately, right as I think about reading it, something would happen. Like sounds, my dog would start barking. It's like the demons or whatever it is are reacting to me reciting the scripture. I know I'm on the right path. That's the best way I can say it without people accusing me of being crazy. Not that I care, because I don't live for this world. I live for God. Hopefully this will serve as an encouragement to someone going through the same thing. I know that it would have helped me a ton more if I had someone who was in the same dilemma as I was helping me throughout. So that's why I'm making this video. I know that the Lord's always with me. He's been with me ever since I was born, not just lately. And I'm glad that He has guided me through all this and kept me sane, kept me strong. And it's the best thing that could have ever happened to me. That's the best way I can put it without, sounding too dramatic. But yeah, as time progressed, more harassments occurred, like stuff like hacking my accounts, people threatening me on social media. They were like, if you don't take down the article, you don't know who you're messing with, or if you don't take down the article, we will do this to you or whatever. The neighborhood people follow me everywhere. That didn't stop. It's continued to this moment. Banging on the wall, dog barking, it's still there. It's just that I don't feel intimidated one bit. And every time something like this happens, I'll just read the scriptures and it would calm me. It would help me a lot. There were like tons of car revvings outside my window. I recorded a video on it. This always happens without fail. I know that it's not human, or at least it's not human technology easily, because the minute I recite the Bible in my head, like the second, engines immediately start revving. There's no delay. It's like the millisecond I start reciting a verse in the Bible, the cars would go crazy. Banging on the walls, all that. There's way more things, but I don't think a lot of people believe me in this. Part of why I'm wearing a mask is because of all the scars on my faces that happened right after in my ear. All this happened as I was experiencing all these things. There's basically welts or sores that grow on my face, and I swear to God, every time I squeeze on them, it's the same scenario. Things fall off. Vehicles would start raging and revving. They wouldn't go away. I used all sorts of medicine. I don't trust doctors, so I can't do that. I used all sorts of medications, all sorts of ointments, washing. It wouldn't go away. It would just get worse and worse. and every time I squeeze my ear, the little pimple looking thing, it would make some squeaky noises, like as if something's alive is in there. Or it's odd. How would I say it without people judging me? Who cares? I'm just gonna put it out. Um, there's just tons of things that are happening. The world we live in is not as black and white as most people think. We're literally living in a matrix, and we are being deceived. America is one of the nastiest nations out there with all of their brainwash. Media, politics, economics, everything's about corruption, about fame, about money, anything to distract you from justice, from righteousness, from embracing God. The minute they throw all this freedom bullcrap in your face, like it's the most free country, it's all bullcrap. Try to live a life of righteousness. Try to embrace God. Try to preach, and see how much that freedom lasts. Um, yeah, that's basically most of what happened in my lately after I've left the company. As I said, I ever since left the country, somewhere in East Asia, and I wouldn't say that the thing stopped. It's still here. I get the whole hauntings, the scratching of the walls, the bumps. My dog's reacting like crazy still. Um, Car revving still happens. People tracking me is a little less, I would say. Not as obvious as in the States. But the revving is definitely there. The bumps in the walls, as I mentioned. My dog freaking out. Obviously, the scars on my face. It's all there. But I know that salvation will come one day. And I know that I don't live for this world. Nothing in this world matters to me anymore. I really could care less. I'm looking forward to the kingdom of God. That's where the true rewards are, and that's where I'm going to spend the rest of my existence, hopefully. Um, and God bless everyone. Hope things get well for everyone. Hope things get well for me too. I think that's the end of that. Thank you for watching.